friends. Hello. Hi. How are you? Hi. Hello. So today we are doing something kind of fun, kind of frisky. I don't know what I'm saying. It's not fun or frisky. It's really not, probably not even that original. This was actually not inspired by anyone, but I am 100% positive that people have done this before. I am so sorry if I talk really quietly in my videos or I seem not as energized. Number one, it's very late now when I have to film because of school. And number two, I'm usually really tired when I'm filming these videos. So we're gonna try to be as upbeat, happy as possible. So today, I kind of wanted to go through my makeup collection. This is not original content. But I thought it would be fun. I was laying in bed and I was like thinking of video ideas and I remembered this bad boy. Morphe 35O. And I remember how hyped this palette was, like the hype of this palette on YouTube. I wanted to do a full face of makeup that used to be incredibly hyped up on YouTube. Some of the products I had are a little bit like, because the problem is I got them, the liquid products were a little bit harder because I got them when they were hyped and then they expired. So for the liquid products, some of them you guys might be like, okay, it's a little bit of a stretch, but like I tried my best. So let's just get right into this one. I snap and we're in another scene or something cool. Yeah, would you guys like that? I snap and then I'm over here. Wait. Was the editing on that cool? So the first product I want to talk about is the YSL Touchy Clot Blurring Primer. I don't feel like this particular product, well, it's been pretty hyped up. Like a lot of YouTubers have talked about this one. I actually think this is a really amazing product and I like it a lot. This primer represents every single overpriced expensive primer that people have been trying to sell us for a while now. Honorable mention goes to, first of all, that one, the Touchy Clot primer. Also the Sicily primer. I know a ton of people talked about the Sicily primer, which was like $200, so that's a no for me. Remember, and this is still kind of relevant, but like especially back in the day, people really hyped up very expensive primers. And I get it because it's like, okay, if it can make your base look really good, I understand the hype, but some of this hype was unnecessary. Like this is a good primer, but like some of it was a little unnecessary. So that was one product that I felt was very hyped up. This next product was actually, I feel like this was hyped by a specific YouTuber for like a long time, around a year ago. I think she first started talking about it. Jaclyn Hill was obsessed with this Dior Forever. Should I be a real YouTuber? Jaclyn Hill was obsessed with this Dior Forever foundation, like obsessed with it. She talked about it in every single video, how like amazingly flawless it made her skin look. I actually bought it because she talked about it so much. And I also think, yeah, it's definitely too dark for me, so I apologize. I didn't really know how to shade match when I got this. I don't know how people do foundation while having their hair down. It's like the most difficult thing. But yeah, Jaclyn Hill really hyped this up. So I found it through that. Like, it's a pretty foundation. It's definitely not bad. I am not mad at it, but I do think it's just a little overpriced. Like, cause this is like $50. And while it's good, I don't really think it's worth the $50 price tag because it's just like a foundation. It's nothing like super revolutionary. I don't know a lot of foundations that are super revolutionary, but like the day a brand comes out with a full coverage foundation that isn't cakey is the day I will call a foundation revolutionary and we'll pay $50, no problem. But until then, I don't think she uses this foundation anymore. But to her credit, a lot of YouTubers will like use a product for like a day and be like, oh my god, this is my new favorite obsession. And like then the next day they have a new favorite obsession. To her credit, like she was obsessed with this. For a while. Like I think she was into that for a pretty long time. Tarte Shape Tape. I felt like I had to buy this. Honestly, this was like, if we're ever gonna talk about products YouTube made me buy, boy does this fit a YouTube made me buy it video. This was just it wasn't even, I think the reason this was so insanely hyped is because it wasn't just like one person's favorite. Every single person was talking about Tarte Shape Tape. Every single one. There was not one person who was not obsessed with Tarte Shape Tape. Like every single beauty guru that was big loved it. My thoughts. I like this concealer. I think the reason YouTubers aren't using it anymore is because because most YouTubers don't use this anymore. Like, they'll still use it sometimes. You see it thrown in, but they always talk about how like they don't really use it anymore. I think that's because of all the drama that Tarte has had. I think because of the Shape Tape foundation, I think YouTubers were I think they didn't want to get backlash for using Tarte products, especially something with the name Shape Tape in it after that foundation release. Laura Mercier loose setting powder. This was also in a recent video I just did, so I'm using this quite a bit. Nobody uses this anymore. Nobody really talks about it. I don't really know what would be considered the new it powder at the moment. Maybe you guys can let me know down below, like a powder that you think is being really hyped right now. But this for a really long time was like the only thing people wanted to use. Like, this was it, was this Laura Mercier powder. This was all anybody talked about as far as powders goes. I remember Nikki Tutorials talked about it for so long. I don't know. Maybe the peach powder from Too Faced right now would be considered like a super hyped up one. Like, a lot of people, like James Charles really talks about that one a lot. I don't know. I've yet to see the thing about this, and I feel like maybe the new Too Faced multi-coverage concealer would be similar to like Tarte Shape Tape status, where it seems like a lot of influencers are really loving it and using it a lot. But I have yet to see people freak out about like a powder like they did about Laura Mercier. I feel like that hasn't happened in a while. Okay, this one I don't use on my channel anymore usually, and I don't really hype this palette up anymore because of who it is, but I felt like it would be wrong. Like, it doesn't make sense to not include it, because the Shade and Light palette, whether I like it or not, whether I like Kat Von D and her brand or not, this is a staple of the beauty community, and I feel like low-key this is one on the list where this is still talked about by a lot of different people and still used a lot. Whether I like Kat Von D or not, the formula on this is very good. Like, it just kind of melts into your skin. It's really, really, really pretty. But with that being said, I have contour palettes that have a lot better formulas than this. I think the reason a lot of YouTubers might not use this anymore is really just because I've heard when you're traveling, it breaks really easily, which is a big turnoff for a YouTuber because they travel a ton. And I've also heard just there's been better things that have come out. I personally, if I was gonna pick like my favorite contour palette that I own, I would probably pick the Anastasia Beverly Hills. I just like it better. I think it's a little bit more pigmented. It gives you a little bit of a better contour. Yeah, this palette's still nice. Still like really pretty and usable. And this was just so hyped up. Like, this is another one where I felt like every YouTuber was always using this one and everybody was like obsessed with it. This was huge. Let's talk about bronzer. This is still one of my favorites, but I don't see it talked about as much anymore. The Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer was talked about like so many people. So many people loved this and raved about it. I remember Christian Dominique especially would always talk about it, and I was just like, this is the coolest thing. I think the reason this was so revolutionary for the time, like a year or so ago, like this really was a craze because at that time drugstores were still kind of thought of as like old Wet n Wild makeup that was like really bad. Like, no drugstores were stepping up and producing really high quality stuff yet. Now you can find a full face of like beautiful, stunning makeup at the drugstore, but this was not that time. And this was kind of a product from the drugstore that was very cheap, very affordable, that was good and worked and works really well. It still is one of my favorite bronzers, like drugstore or not. This is such a good bronzer. I have it in the deep and to the light because I love it so much. And it smelled really good, and I think that helped it. All right, the next product that I want to talk about that was so hype, and like this is another drugstore product, was, and I think it got really popular for the same reason, Milani Luminoso. God, this was so hyped. I really truly do think it's because it was a drugstore product that worked beautifully, and Nikki Tutorials fell in love with it. And if Nikki Tutorials likes your product, like, you're gonna be fine. You know what I mean? She talked about this on her channel all of the time. And I was like, man, I gotta try that out. It really is such a stunning blush because it gives that little bit of luminosity without, somehow, I don't really know how they did it, but they're able to create a luminous like flush and kind of brighten your whole cheek without putting glitter in it. And I don't know how they did that. I think that's the other reason this was so hyped up and popular, is because this was like a special formula. This isn't like something every single blush possesses. It possesses the ability to lift your cheekbones while also still not having glitter and not being too, it's not like a highlighter blush, you know what I mean? I think that's why it was super popular. gotta have ABH Brow Wiz. I feel like this could be, you could just say ABH brow products in general were super hyped up, but I think the Brow Wiz was a really big one. Of course, everybody liked what they liked. Like some people use the powders, some people use the pomades, but ABH brow products, I think it's because it was the first brand to really like make brow products like this. They were the first bigger brand to do it. And I think that's why they've had so much success. And I still think they have some of the best brow products. I still love their dip brow. The spoolie on this Brow Wiz is still, I know this is random, it's one of my favorite spoolies ever. I think it's so good for brushing up your brows. So good. So good! As I talked about in the intro, the Morphe 35O was the reason I created this video, because I just remember every single YouTuber, and this was kind of, I feel like it was a little before we knew about Morphe codes, before Here for the Tea kind of exposed that, but I remember every single YouTuber ever, this was in like every single favorites video. This was in like palette of the year videos, best of 2016, I think is when this came out videos. Everybody was raving about how this was like the best palette of all time. Best Morphe palette, best palette, like literally the best palette ever. This was like the standard for like a fall palette. Having it now and looking back on this, it's a cute palette and like the colors work fine. I personally like Morphe shadows because I'm basic, but these shadows work fine. I don't really understand why it was so hyped though, because realistically, the only actually interesting shades are like these 3 oranges, and then everything else is just very, very like neutrally, very much like the same. These 2 shadows are identical.
These 2 are the same, these 2 are the same. There's a lot of repeats in this palette.
So while you're getting a good deal, well, I think the thing was like, oh my god,
35 shades for $23?
like, that's insane. And while this is good, I think this was a little overhyped. I'm gonna just do my eye look with this really quick because I'm gonna do something kind of simple, basic. Yeah, just something simple. I'm definitely gonna use the orange shades because they're interesting. I have a red lip though. Is orange and red gonna clash?
We'll see.
Okay, so we have that done. This is the eye look. I just kept it really simple, just like orange and gold. Nothing too crazy. This palette's pretty lackluster using it now. The mascara I want to use that I feel was a little bit too hyped up, and something that was super, super hyped on YouTube is the Better Than Sex mascara. I only have the mini. I have the waterproof one in the full size. It's actually not bad. Man, that actually did a really good job. I haven't used this yet. I got this little sample at Ulta and I hadn't used it. This is so pretty. I hated this when I tried it before. I tried it like 2 years ago though, so maybe it's because using this. I actually really like the way this looks. That looks really, really, really pretty. So, okay, I approve. Hyped approved. All right, we're getting down to the end. So this is the O for highlighter in Rodeo Drive. I feel like everybody freaked about this highlighter, rightfully so. This is something I think really deserved the hype when it got the hype. This is a really, really, really beautiful highlighter. It is a little glittery, but it's so finely milled that you literally don't even care. Yeah.
Just like a bronze goddess, you know?
Just kidding, I'm gonna diffuse that. Oh, for highlighters are still one of my favorite formulas. I have 3 now and they're just so pretty. Or something about this though that I think is really cute is that this was I was actually sent this through Octoly, and it was like the first Ofra product I had gotten approved for, and I just remember being like the most excited to try this because so many YouTubers I loved had talked about it, and then trying it and being like, wow, this is amazing. I really, really, really love this. So cute. Finally. You know, this is what started it all for me with makeup, or the Kylie lip kits. I was never into makeup until these came out, and then everybody freaked out about them. And now they're probably not my favorite thing in makeup. Like, I don't really like Kylie cosmetics anymore, but for a really long time, these were very, very hyped. This is in the shade Mary Jo K. It's like beautiful red. It's so pretty. I'm gonna put it on. It's literally the prettiest red. It's so nice. Really vibrant, like a true red. It's just such a pretty red. I think this is like the prettiest red color ever. This is still one of my favorite reds. I really like it. I really actually love how this look came out. It looks really, really pretty in person and on camera, I feel. yeah, this is kind of like a product graveyard moment. Maybe that's what I'll call this, because these are products that I feel like nobody talks about anymore. They're still good products. They still exist. You can still buy them. They aren't discontinued. But I think the makeup market is just moving so fast, and one day it's like Project Runway. Like,
It's like one day you're in and the next day you're out.
and these products are pretty much out right now. I think some of them, oh my God, how could I forget? How could I forget this product? There's one more. MAC Fix Plus, man. Had to have it. You weren't a real beauty person until you had MAC Fix Plus. Actually, despise MAC Fix Plus. I think it's overpriced and I think it does nothing. I think you could just use water and it would do the same thing, but that's just me. Goodness, I actually hate the way it smells too. I don't even want to spray this in my face. I hate the way it smells. It just feels like water. It doesn't do anything. This was so hyped though. This is still pretty hyped, I think, but like this was so hyped. This was like the only setting spray to have. Like Tatcha, who? But yeah, guys, that's it for me. That's pretty much my full face of like makeup graveyard products that nobody really discusses anymore or talks about. It's pretty nostalgic. Walked out, especially like the face products, like the Laura Mercier powder I haven't used in so long, the Morphe powder, like the Morphe eyeshadow palette, I barely use that anymore. But they were so hyped at the time. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. I'm honestly just so happy you're here watching me. Thank you. Everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below, along with my merch, my Patreon, my Twitter, my Insta, like all of that fun stuff. So just go check it out. Go hit me up. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!